Welcome to Chattanooga National Cemetery. It's a beautiful cemetery on a hillside near downtown. And it's the final resting place of over 50,000 American servicemen and women and their families. A number of Medal of Honor recipients, including some of the first in the form of Andrews Raiders, who we're going to talk about in just a minute and tell you their story. The very first recipients of the brand new Medal of Honor were among the Andrews Raiders. The 8 that are buried here are not all Medal of Honor recipients, because a few of them were civilians, including one from Salineville, Ohio, which is the town where my church is. Andrews himself was a civilian and so therefore not eligible for the Medal of Honor, but those 2 civilians were among the 8 who were hanged for their role in the Andrews raid, and those 8 are buried here. The others received the Medal of Honor, as did 6 living men who were the first to receive the Medal of Honor. Let me tell you their story before we explore some of the rest of the cemetery.
In an effort to wreak havoc behind Confederate lines, a black market trader and civilian scout by the name of James Andrews came up with a plan to take a small group of soldiers to Georgia, purchase tickets for a train to Chattanooga, overtake the train, and then use it to destroy telegraph lines, bridges, and railroad tracks along the return trip to Chattanooga. If successful, the raid could wreak havoc on supply lines and severely disrupt the Confederate war effort. Andrews and his raiders began their journey on April 7, 1862, as the Battle of Shiloh raged in western Tennessee. He had volunteers from 3 Ohio regiments, the 2nd Ohio Infantry, the 21st Ohio Infantry, and the 22nd Ohio Infantry. The men wore plain clothes and posed as new Confederate Army recruits, traveling through military lines to Chattanooga and then on to Marietta, Georgia. 2 men were arrested on the trip south, leaving 21 men to carry on with the plan. Early on the morning of April 12th, 19 of the raiders boarded the northbound train. 2 of the men overslept and missed the train. When they arrived at Big Shanty to refuel, the passengers got off for breakfast. The stop, which was near present-day Kennesaw, had no communications lines. There, the raiders uncoupled the train cars. When the train departed northward, only the locomotive, called General, and 3 empty boxcars moved forward. The Confederate pursuit began on foot. Eventually, they commandeered a handcar to continue. A little further down the tracks, they obtained a locomotive, switched to a faster one, and picked up a larger crew. Upon discovering the Texas, a southbound train, the pursuers released its cars and chased the General. Thus, the Andrews raid became known as the Great Locomotive Chase. Over the span of 7 hours and 87 miles, the Texas followed the General in reverse. In spite of their pursuers, the raiders were able to cut communications lines, tear up railroad tracks, and prevent the news from spreading. Realizing that the other train was in fact gaining on them, the raiders released 2 boxcars to lighten their load and slow the Texas. Near Resaca, Georgia, the raiders attempted to burn the bridge over a river by igniting the final boxcar. The damp bridge did not burn. With the pursuers hot on their heels and unable to refuel, the General ran out of steam just north of Ringgold, less than 20 miles south from their destination in Chattanooga. All of the raiders were captured within a week, including the 2 who missed the train at Marietta. 8 of the 21 captured men were tried as spies and hanged in Atlanta. The 8 included James Andrews, who was executed on June 7, 1862, as well as 6 U.S. soldiers and 1 civilian executed on June 18th. They are all today buried in the Chattanooga National Cemetery. 6 of the Andrews raiders were released from prison in a prisoner exchange, and those men were the very first to be awarded the new Medal of Honor on March 25, 1863. The National Cemetery here in Chattanooga was authorized by order of General George Thomas as a place to bury the military dead from the battles around Chattanooga. Eventually, by 1870, more than 12,000 Union soldiers from such battles as Chickamauga had been buried here. Unfortunately, the vast majority of them are unknown.
I've been looking forward to this for a while now. This is one of my heroes. I don't need to take the time to tell you Desmond Doss's story. I'm sure if you haven't already heard his story or seen the movie Hacksaw Ridge, take the time to look it up. But he was not a conscientious objector. As he put it, he was a conscientious cooperator. A man who honored his faith, but also did so much more than almost anyone in the war effort. Had the opportunity for about the last half hour or so. I've been standing here talking with Jeannie from the Desmond Doss Foundation. We happened to run into each other at the Andrews Raiders Memorial down at the bottom of the hill, and she brought me up here. She knows the family. She's real good friends with Desmond Doss Jr., and she just shared so many amazing things with me, too many for me to tell you right now, but she just, told me just what an incredible human being this guy was. And, the official Medal of Honor citation, one of the things she pointed out to me was she said most of them, for Medals of Honor, they say above and beyond the call of duty. But Desmond Doss's Medal of Honor citation says far above and beyond the call of duty. And that tells you everything you need to know. Officially credited with saving the lives of 75 men. The Army says it was more like 100. Desmond tried to downplay it, and so they compromised with 75. He may have also saved the lives of a number of Japanese soldiers, which is very consistent with the character of the man. But my favorite quote from him is what his prayer was. And I'm a person who believes strongly in the power of prayer. I believe that was what protected him that day at Hacksaw Ridge, those days, because it wasn't just one day, it was several weeks over which he performed far above and beyond the call of duty. But Desmond's prayer, every time he saved a man's life, Lord, help me get one more. That's awesome. It gives me chills just thinking about it. One of my heroes, like I said, just an incredible man, incredible human being. I'm honored to be able to spend these moments here at his final resting place. Not everyone buried in this cemetery is an American veteran. Also buried here, and in the section that I'm standing in right now, are nearly 200 German prisoners of war. About half of them from the First World War and about half from the Second World War. They were held in prisoners of war camps in this area, and they died for various reasons over the course of their confinement, and they were buried here in the National Cemetery. Let's take a look.